Ghia, in the distance, watched the entire town light up with happiness and music. The distant rhythm of drums and stringed instruments could be easily heard for miles. Ghia grips the handle on his boxer, his lips curling in anger over the insults he received. His only job was to reel in these backwater colonies, not to be gestured at. How could these hillbillies not understand what law and order meant?
Kate, we have no luck here. Should we try another town? The benevolence of the Empire can surely miss out on one.
The guard barely has time to finish his sentence as Ghia delivers a strong right hook to the poor lad's face, knocking him to the ground.
The mercy of the Empire does not extend to separatist scum. Listen to them. They're openly praising their criminality. No organization, no authority. Soon it'll be rife with sour incest and debilitating slime unlike anything ever seen before. Separatists, more like terrorists. They wish for a peaceful life, but only the Empire can provide that. The Empire has deemed all separatists a fleeting ideal, so we shall make those who share the ideas of this little village pay very dearly for it. Empire over all.
Ghia slams his fist into the table, nearly shattering one of the supporting legs. The other guards in the room looked at one another with worry, unsure of what the fuck Ghia was even talking about.
Kay, maybe we should reconsider our actions. The idea of a centralized government force may seem daunting to these people. We should probably encourage them to work towards a common goal, perhaps even put incentives towards said goal. The point is to coax them into understanding the Empire doesn't actually want anything to do with your lives. Just that we all want to fly under one banner.
Ghia spins around suddenly, grabbing the young woman by her throat and lifting her up into the air. She sputters and gags, suddenly caught off guard by the action, grabbing at his arm and trying to break free. Ghia squeezes real tight, rupturing part of her throat with but a single squeeze, forcing an anguished cry of terror from the girl's throat as it collapsed on itself. She sputtered again, thick green blood flowing from her mouth and nose as she struggled to draw breath in. Ghia squeezes again, severing her head from her body in a single, clean motion. Her dead body flopped uselessly on the floor while Ghia still held her head in his hands.
If you were ever to know fear, it would be right now,
Ghia said, throwing her useless head out the door. The other two absolutely terrified guards moved out of the way, shoved away by the angry Ghia as he moved through the tent.
We end these separatist scum. Burn the entire town. Leave no trace that it even existed. You will do as I command, or there will be more of this.
Ghia points to the lifeless, gaping head of the young guardswoman, blood literally dripping from his lips as he spoke.
Yes, Kay.
The guards muttered barely. Shenna places her hand on the bar, carefully eyeballing a group of known mercenaries walking through the front door. One tapped on their table, a clear indication for Shenna for an information gamble. She prepares 4 mugs of ale for the 4 mercenaries, also obtaining her trusty Stitzer plasma bolter, just in case.
Always a pleasure, Tarkana. 4 mugs and... what is it you need this time, old man? Looking for a bounty nearby?
Shenna pulls up a chair and takes a seat. Tarkana hisses out sharply, turning his head to spit on the ground, almost as if he were offended by the question. Shenna pulls her hands back and makes a face of an apology.
No, woman. I desire to give you information. Heed it or ignore it. Either way minds me none, for my crew shall be departing quite soonly.
Tarkana leans in real close to Shenna.
The Empire does not take kindly to separatist beliefs of individuality and freedom of self. That much is well known. But that Ghia fellow, he intends all harm. The Empire intends to bring the proverbial hammer on your head. You spread your beliefs of self-governance, which is not allowed. I implore you
to at least consider everyone here.
Tarkana is hushed by a quickly turned head of several of the patrons in the bar.
I do not believe the Empire will have such successes silencing my voice. Should I choose to speak freely, I will. And no representative or dog from the Empire can change that.
Shenna stands up suddenly, raising her arms up and out, wide for everyone to see.
The option to have an option should never be taken away from us. Choice, responsibility, all of that is ours. None of that should ever be mandated by another entity. Period.
Shenna shouts proudly. Multiple cheers resonate from inside the bar, some standing with their mugs in their hand. Truly, they were invigorated, some shouting in agreement.
Go now. Spread the word of freedom to your friends. The Empire shouldn't have power over you.
Shenna almost sounded like she was giving an order now, pointing towards the door. Some of the patrons headed out quickly, agreeing to the issue at hand. Shenna looks back to Tarkana with a big grin on her face.
There are few forces in this universe that can stop a good idea from seeding the mind. I'm sure that is equivalent in the measure of the Empire and its loyalists. I will heed your information, but if you do not wish to be part of this, you may leave. Oh, and the drinks are free,
Shenna says. Ghia carefully maneuvers around the merchants and mercenaries, eyeballing their surrounding activities. He furrowed his brow at the mere mention of physical currencies being exchanged for services provided, watching gold and silver coins being counted out at stalls and tables. He felt almost nauseous at the display of marketing and capitalism, almost as if it were a vile act. He spits on the ground, then his guards thrash the tables and spread the coin on the ground. Almost instantly, the passing villagers went for the coins, and a brawl was started.
Look at them squall and mar. How foolish they are for such mundanities. When the shield becomes prevalent, none of this will ever matter. How simple. The Empire is the future, everyone. Cast aside your need of transactions and futile marketing methods. Join the Empire.
Ghia shouts at the top of his lungs, while toppling over stalls. A merchant gets mouthy with Ghia, running up to him and grabbing his vest.
Who is this one so wise in the arts of destruction? Begone with your foolishness. This is a private of an area. You cannot...
The merchant is cut off quickly, now having Ghia's boxer pressed against the Acution's head.
Are you a separatist? Are you willing to join the Empire?
Ghia says flatly.
No, I'm...
The merchant begins to say, but before he could even blink, a bolt of plasma bursts through his temple and injects thick green gore and skull fragments onto the side wall. Terrified screams followed right after, the surrounding mercenaries instantly lifting their arms. Ghia looks back to them, and his guards open fire on the crowd.
All of them are separatists. Kill all of them.
Ghia mutters. The crowd became quite thin and laid at his feet, some spalled and rent from the plasma bolts, some still barely alive and writhing on the ground in agony. Ghia and his men stand over the massacre they just performed, holding true to their activities beforehand.
This whole village will be burned to the ground. Loyalists will be rewarded for joining our cause. Separatists will be eliminated. Know which side you will part with, and which side you will join.
Ghia shouts again, stepping over the poor Acution he had just executed with little remorse. Greetings, travelers! Part 2 of Sworn Enemies, and Ghia has turned up the heat on Little Toumarin Village. Galactic unification or ultimate freedom? What if the two could be combined? If you like my story, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about my next video. Be safe out there, traveler, and may we see each other soon.